She's back.
Yay, fine. Actually, it was kind of crazy. I think because all the storms and everything, like all the flights last night were delayed, all the flights today were delayed. It was quite the travel day.
Oh my God. All right. We'll jump right in because, you're you. Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. And along with me, as always, is the femme fatale of functional fitness, Bethany McChesney. Did you like that one? I had that one.
That was clever.
And back again is one of our favorites, Rachel Vonderach.
Yes, new last name.
Nailed it. So, we'll go right into it. You have had, Bethany and I were talking before, you've had kind of three major things go on since the last time we talked to you. And the first one, actually, I'm very upset about. And no, really, it's bothered me greatly. I haven't slept. My marriage is in trouble. It's terrible. You didn't follow any of my COVID wedding advice.
I know.
None. Like, I saw pictures. There was like cake and dancing and booze and dresses. You definitely exceeded the $400 one.
I know. That's for sure.
It looked awesome. Congratulations. Really.
Thank you.
Look forward to actually meeting Zach one day.
Yes.
Hopefully in December in Boston, I think.
Yeah, that's the plan. Are you going to be able to be there too, Bethany?
Yeah, we hope so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. Beth, you want to take the second thing that's happened?
And then you competed at the Granite Games.
And yep, it was right after the wedding.
Yeah, and you seemed like you were doing really well there. I saw you in third at one point, and then you had a really off event, and then ended up finishing one spot out of making it to last chance qualifiers.
Yep.
So what happened? How did it break down for you?
So I had never really done a big individual competition like that, and I got to an event that wasn't necessarily a strength of mine. I'd practiced it. I was mentally ready. I knew kind of what I needed to do just to kind of keep my placement and hold on. And I ended up kind of having almost like a panic attack in the middle of the event. It was a short event. The time cap was only 8 minutes, and I kind of had like a judging kind of fluke where we kind of like didn't really understand each other, and I just couldn't pull it together. I mean, I just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. I didn't kind of step back, try to figure out what was going on and what I was doing wrong, and then all of a sudden the time was over, and it was like the most devastating thing. And it's just something that I had never experienced as an athlete. I mean, every day I practice in my own gym, everything goes right, and as soon as everything went wrong and my chest tightened up, everything was just like, oh my God, what's going on? And then before I could even realize, the event was over. And it was awful.
So what was the workout?
So the workout, it was 50-foot handstand walk into like 40 calories ski, 30 deficit handstand push-ups, and then you kind of run it back. And I got to the deficit handstand push-ups, which is not a strength of mine, but it was something that I could definitely get through. I mean, I practiced it multiple times. I was ready. And my hand placement on the handstand push-ups, I didn't put them back further enough. So my feet kept kind of not touching at the same time on the back of the wall. And my judge just kept no repping. And I all of a sudden, like, I was on number like 65 and she was like, you're on 23. And I was like, what? So it was tragic.
Did you like turn around and go, bitch, can you not count?
I mean, I kept my cool, and I was frustrated for sure. I wasn't going to argue with my judge right there in the middle of the event, because some of them probably were no reps. It was just, it kept happening again and again and again. And I just should have like stepped back, kind of breathed, took my time, and then figured out what I was doing wrong and jumped back into it. But I just, like I said, I kind of had like a panic attack, and I just kept trying the same thing over and over and over again. And then before I knew it, the time cap was up and it was over.
Do they not explain to you why they're no repping you, or no?
So kind of. I mean, you go over the movement standards in like these big, huge athlete briefs before each event. So like every night after you're done competing, you go over like these huge athlete briefs the day before. So they go over some of the standards there, and the judges are very like, during your event, they're just good rep, no rep. They don't have they won't actually explain things to you. So it was one of those things you kind of had to ask beforehand or figure out yourself, which is again, kind of like stressful and frustrating, but it's part of the sport. And I think it's just part of like being a rookie in this sport and never having experienced that kind of failure in the middle of an event, and just not knowing kind of how to recompose myself.
So when you said you were on like 65 and she thought you were on 23 or whatever, I wasn't going to make a joke. I had a real question. So wouldn't she be calling, like, from me and watching, obviously never having been in that situation, are they not counting your reps out loud? Like, and then yelling no rep? Like, can you not hear her? Are you not aware of what's going on like that?
Yeah. I mean, she was counting. No, I know. It just sounds funny that, like, I mean, that literally wasn't happening though. Like, I was counting in my head, like I always count my reps. And then when I heard her say that, I was like, just like completely taken off. I was like, wait, what? But she was counting. She just wasn't, I either wasn't listening or I was just kind of in my own world. And I was obviously extremely frustrated with myself and her and the whole situation. So I think I just kind of like tuned her out, and I don't know. The whole thing was, I mean, I've replayed it probably a million times in my head. I've watched the video. I've tried to kind of analyze it so it doesn't happen again, but it's still kind of traumatic, I would say.
And did you have a separate video of your own that you were able to see, like someone took of you? Because I mean, obviously, you only get so much from the stream they did, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do have that, and I've like talked to some people about it, and they kind of said the first couple of my no reps were actually good reps, and then towards the end, when I was just so frustrated and so fatigued, those were in fact no reps. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm definitely taking the blame. It was like I said, if I would have just kind of recompose myself, step back, taking like a 15-second breather and jump back into it, I probably would have been okay. But just being a new athlete in that situation, I just freaked out and kept doing the same wrong thing over and over and over again.
In fairness, I think your judge must have had like serious cojones, because I thought about it. I wouldn't want to be a judge in CrossFit, because it's okay when I volunteered OCR and like these skinny little speed demons come by and they fail on something. I'm like, no, you fucked that up, go back. And they're not going to do anything to me. I don't care, right? Because I'm bigger than they are. That's fine. But I wouldn't want to sit there and like, Brent Fikowski's, no rep, and he looks at me all mean, and I'm like, don't fucking hit me here. Like, like it'd be a terrifying thing. I wouldn't want to be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, they try to make it very clear. I mean, those judges are just volunteers. They're volunteering their time to be there. It's long hours. It's obviously stressful for them, and I try to give them the respect that they need and deserve. But that is kind of one of the hard parts of CrossFit, is it's not fully regular, like normalized in the sense where everyone has the same judging, everyone has the same. It's not like there's a clock you're going against. It's, you could have a good judge or a bad judge, or, I mean, that is kind of a hard part about CrossFit, but it's part of the sport. So I guess got to learn to deal with it.
So the next event then, what was after that? What was the next workout after that one? Because you did make a comeback.
Yeah, the next one after that was the next day. Actually, so the next day, they moved all the events later because it was just so hot. And that one should have been a really, really good workout for me. I should have been probably top 3, just because it was kind of like a grind workout. Didn't really require skill or strength. It was just kind of go through it. But the heat got to me really, really bad. I mean, everything started to go black, and just the heat on the turf and dealing with that aspect was also something I definitely was not ready for at all. And a lot of the athletes kind of had similar situations where once that your body temperature gets to that point, it's just so hard to kind of bring it back down and focus that that was stressful too. I mean, I did okay on that, but definitely not as good as I should have. And then I finished out the rest of the competition very strong that last day. But towards the middle there, I definitely had some big hiccups.
It looked like on the one there was a bit of a mental error, right? Where it was the big slam ball, the big dead ball, and you didn't advance it to the next thing.
Yeah. And so again,
it looked like to that point you were doing really, really well on that workout. Like in like the top 3 area. And then that just seemed to be like the house of cards fall.
Yeah, I mean, I was already on 13 wall balls, and those wall balls were heavy and hot, and I had to run all the way back out there, move the ball, run all the way back, and restart my wall balls. So
Oh,
again, I just a really rookie bad mistake.
it wasn't clear to us watching that they made you restart the wall balls, right? So we didn't.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bricks.
And these aren't Hyrox wall balls. They're like to 10 feet with a 20-pound ball in the blaring sun. I was just like, oh no.
So then, last workout, you came back really strong.
Yeah. I mean, at that point I knew that was again one of my better workouts, and I was just ready to leave it all out there and try to end on a high note. So I was super happy about that. But overall it's still a tough weekend. Still kind of hurts a little bit.
12 points, right?
Yeah.
Oh, one thing, just back to that, the torque tank. What did you think of that thing?
So I don't like it. Actually, Zach, he bought me
sound
one
like
for
me
my
now.
birthday. It's way too easy. It's like I have like the Max, the M4 one, that silver one that they said is supposedly very hard. Unless you put like dumbbells and sandbags and all kinds of stuff on it, it's like very simple. Like I can go down barefoot and barely even put any effort to it, and it just rolls.
And this is what they use in DECA?
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because
Okay.
I mean, we've never had a chance to try it, but they do use
Yeah.
DECA. And to be honest, on for the women's DECA, I believe they put it on setting number 2, which would be even, because you were doing yours on 3 or 4, wasn't it? Depending on
Yeah, the Max.
And with a, I don't know how you couldn't tell, but a slam ball on top, I couldn't tell how much weight they put on it. I'm assuming that was probably 100-pound or 50-pound or something.
Yep. The 150. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was more for Bethany. I just wanted to know that you're going to be able to smoke that thing.
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna blast it.
It is weird though, because the harder you push, the harder it gets. So it's not like a regular Hyrox sled where you push harder and it goes harder. It's like if you push too hard, it's like slows down. I don't know. It's like a kind of mentally strange concept with it. Yeah. So you want to just be more kind of consistent with it instead of forceful.
Yeah, and the way it's always
That
been
makes
described is extra effort is not proportionally rewarded with speed. So you
Yeah.
might put in 50% extra effort and you're going to get 25% extra speed.
Exactly.
So from what I've seen in DECA, everybody seems to go pretty close to the same pace.
Okay, that's fair.
So then the big deal, Hyrox,
Hyrox, yes.
the literal and figurative whirlwind.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We had literally walked in seconds before they evacuated the building. I was like in line to pick up my like chip and timer, and they're like, everyone needs to get out. And I was like, what? And then when you guys messaged me, I was laughing so hard. I was like, seriously?
Well, we were actually doing a test. We were getting people with cameras walking around, seeing where the horrible signals were, which there was a lot, and going around and trying to find the spots, because the reason was we were not able to click into the Wi-Fi because they had so much timing equipment and everything else put on the Wi-Fi that it was overloaded, so we weren't allowed to go on it. So they had to go on regular cell phone signals, and regular cell phone signals in the bottom of a convention center suck ass. But anyway, we dealt with it. But we were getting the signal, and all of a sudden, I believe it was Morgan I was talking to, and we could hear it over the loudspeaker. Everybody must evacuate, and they literally pulled everybody right off course and just said, "Go to the parking garage."
Yeah, it was crazy.
So maybe, actually, on a side note, maybe you can fill us in, because I don't know this either. What did they do with the people that were halfway through the race?
So at the after party, I talked to some of the girls and guys that happened to. One of the girls, she was in the middle of the sled pull, and she had to come back. She was like one more length away from finishing. So she came back and she had to restart the sled pull. So she was like, I had to do the sled pull twice. And I guess they're trying to like adjust the times. They kind of just paused everyone and then threw them back on where they were. And they're going to try to like adjust the times and fix it all. But I imagine that's going to be quite the nightmare.
I just actually saw a message a friend sent me who was in a similar situation, and she had almost finished the sled push and she had to redo the sled push. And they said they sent her a message saying that they're trying to have it all taken care of by tonight at 10 p.m.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty quick, I mean, that's quick considering that's probably quite the nightmare.
Yeah.
One thing Hyrox does really well is they're really fast at posting times and everything. Like, you guys were crossing the line, and 10 seconds later, I could look on my phone on the website and get your whole splits.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy how quick they are. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was sitting here doing the commentary, and Riley would come over and she'd be like, "Here, look at this," and boom, there it was, like the splits for like literally, I'd say less than 10 seconds after you cross the line. I could see everything.
Wow.
Their system is fantastic that way.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if you've ever tried to go through Athlinks, oh my god,
Yeah. Disaster.
it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even find me on Athlinks. I'm spelling my name right. I know the codes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah.
first off, how does that affect you when you're getting ready for like a super high performance thing? How does a 40-minute delay, a 45-minute delay for something like that affect you? We even talked about like pre-workouts and stuff like that. How does that all?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of used to that in the sense of like it's happened before in like CrossFit situations with weather events. But it was weird because running is so precise about your body, like when you're eating, when you're warming up, how you're warming up. It's just way more like particular and important. So that what I mean, it definitely mentally and we didn't really know. We're like, no one really told us, okay, are we still going to start at 115? Are we going to be pushed back? And we kind of just all were kind of warming up, kind of waiting to hear what was happening, like talking amongst ourselves. No one really knew what was going on. They never kind of let us know. It was just kind of like an athlete. Okay, they're 40 minutes behind. You guys are going to be pushed. So that was kind of stressful. But again, I just tried to keep a positive mindset and said, this is how it is. I mean, we're all going through this together, and just try to make the most of it in that sense.
Have you ever had to go through that, Beth? Like in a track scenario where like maybe a lightning storm or something? Like, I couldn't imagine. Like, I mean, I see it
Yeah, typically what ends up happening often on the track is just delayed with stuff. And sometimes track meets will have what's called a rolling start. So you basically have your list of events and then it's just a rolling schedule. So you kind of have to be prepared for like this window of time. So it's something you do kind of get used to in some ways, especially in the track world, because it's never precise.
Yeah.
Well, like we said, the beautiful thing about Hyrox, never affected by weather. So you finally mosey up to the start line and you guys are off. And so, I mean, break it down. How did it start out for you? Because you guys looked like you went out at a pretty good pace.
Yeah. We went off. I knew I mean, Becca and Lauren are both very strong runners, and I knew to kind of hold back in that sense. We went out good. I felt good. And probably on the second lap, I kind of felt, so the course, this was weird to me. The course was actually, you ran in the clockwise direction instead of your typical counterclockwise. So that was a little
so hard. Can you turn right?
Yeah. So that, I mean, it was weird.
But they never seen NASCAR. That's just not proper.
No. Like you don't run that way around a track. I would turn on my feet.
German.
I can't turn right.
German.
So I mean, yeah. So we started, and a couple minutes in, I felt this kind of like this whole side of my right leg. There was just kind of like this like lightning bolt like tingling across the whole side of my leg, and I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't really know what's going on. And I figured it would just kind of like loosen up. I thought maybe like the nerves, or I tweaked something, or wasn't actually sure what was happening. But I held on, and I just kept saying, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it was on my right leg. So every time the corners were kind of sharp too. So every time I'd hit one of those corners, it was just like another like stabbing sensation across my entire leg. And I just went down that kind of mental, really hard aspect. Like, I wanted to quit, but that's just not who I am. Knew I was going to finish the race unless the ambulance literally took me off. I was worried mostly about the lunges. I thought I was going to get to the lunges and my whole leg was just going to kind of collapse because of that stabbing pain. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And
you still looked good at the sled push. Like at the sled push, you looked like you were still working what I would have thought would have been your strategy, not try to run with Rebecca, just kind of hang in there, and you came into the sled a reasonable time with them, and then looked like you passed them on the sled push. And then
Yep.
it didn't come into the pull until it seemed like you weren't quite yourself.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I guess I tried to kind of mentally block it out. Like I was like, stop thinking about it. Like you're already in the race. It's already started. Just go for it. And it felt, yeah, it felt okay. The run, every time I got to the run, I knew like, oh man, this is going to hurt. And then I got to the burpees and it was like, I could barely step my leg down and back. And that's when it really was like, oh man, like I am in for it. Um, and yeah, I just kept praying that it would loosen up or kind of just let release, and it never did.
And you weren't having problems with this before at all?
No, I've had kind of like a little bit of knee issues on my right side, which is why I'm glad it's usually like the normal track situation where I'm turning left, just because that's my stronger leg, my stronger side. And so when they first said like, oh, the course is the opposite direction, I was kind of like, oh wow, like I know that's my weaker leg. I know those turns are going to hurt a little bit, but I didn't think it would affect me until, like I said, that stabbing pain just all across my whole entire IT band, all the way up through my hip. Just, I don't know, it just kept tightening, tightening, tightening. And then this morning I woke up and I can't even walk. So it's rough.
Yeah, I mean, because just text with you afterwards, and you were just saying like it continued to be feeling worse. Like it wasn't like,
Yeah.
I'd stopped and then stretched out and foam rolled it and it got feeling better. It just worse. You actually looked really good form wise on the wall balls. Like, I mean, it was like, that was the one spot. But then every now and again, you set the ball down. Bracken and I said many times we could see you kicking that leg out. Like, something wasn't quite right. Obviously, we were just guessing away. But wow, we were right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, the wall ball's actually like that position of it just like bending down doesn't hurt. But as soon as I would like stand up and lock it out, I would just get that shooting pain that was going up the whole side. And I thought at some point it was just going to kind of like snap, or my whole body was just going to kind of like lock up and I was just going to collapse.
So,
But luckily it didn't happen.
No. And I mean, so you still came in there, honestly. We talk about this like it was the worst performance in the world. You still came third in a really good field and got a 1:12.19, which honestly, I mean, yes, for you, that's a drop off, but that's like still a really good time. And
Yeah. But I mean, you guys both know as soon as like that gun goes off, you're in the middle of a race, like that mindset just kind of like takes over. I mean, I've heard of marathon runners finish a race with like a stretch fracture. You can do crazy things in like a competition setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was definitely what kind of carried me through, is just being in a competition setting. I think if it was just a regular training or simulation, it could have been really, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So just maybe talk a little bit about Lauren and Rebecca. And I mean, again, you're familiar with them from last time because it was the three of you last time. It was supposed to be the three of you going in this time, and it was.
Yeah.
Rebecca, again, she improved very much on her time from the last time. She had a great race. And Sad, have you guys seen her post on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's done. She's gone off to save the world, which is fairly noble. But, disappointing from our perspective, because I would love to continue.
Yeah, we're big fans, obviously.
And then, and both you and Rebecca went into this, and this is actually something I really liked and I really admire. You guys went into this saying, we're going to win. We're coming to break the record. This is what we're coming to do. And I like that because it wasn't arrogant. It wasn't, and I don't mean this badly. It wasn't Hunter-esque. It was... It was done as in confidence, and I'm going to put, and this is the kind of importance I'm putting into this. And I like that. Yeah. But did either of you consult Lauren before that? Because she had different ideas.
Yeah. I mean, both of those girls, honestly, I mean, I've only been with them a few times. I can honestly say they're some of my best friends. Just the amount of respect and admiration I have for both of them is actually incredible. They're both just the sweetest people, confident, amazing individuals that I'm so happy to call, like I said, some of my best friends. And before the race, I mean, we're all like, hey, let's do this together. Like, we all knew that we needed each other to race well. We've all been in races by ourselves where if you don't have someone that's trying to push you and has the same goals as you, you can't really reach your potential. So having kind of that camaraderie between us, like, wow, let's kind of show not only, hey, the ladies have this, like we're some incredible athletes, like we can break this world record, no matter who it is and what happens, like kind of using each other in that sense, which I think is really neat and something that is really special just amongst the three of us. So that was, I mean, really, really cool.
And to be honest, watching it, Lauren went to another level. Like,
yeah,
I didn't like, I mean, I knew she had improved her time back at the last Orlando one, but this time just watching her, like, especially when, you know, she looked steady and solid, typical Lauren, until the burpee broad jumps. And then it was just like, no, she's on another level right now. She looked like she was just starting the race at the burpee broad jumps.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just really impressed. And also really glad the record went down, because I didn't like Sarah Colty having it. Not that there's anything wrong with Sarah Colty. She's amazing. She's awesome. But she got it that day when the sled was really, really easy. And if you look at the numbers, they don't line up, and it kind of was like sketcy. I don't know. But, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we were
awesome.
Definitely cheering for her.
I'm not sure
cheering
if
for
she's
Lauren.
English, so I'm okay. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I was super proud. Both of them crushed the sled push, clutched the sled pull, like some of their weaker events. They came out super strong. I mean, Becca has improved leaps and bounds in her strength since I saw her last. And Lauren says that she's really been focusing kind of more on running. And I think that helped her a lot in the race. She just said she's really been putting in the miles. And I think that definitely helped her.
Yeah, and she competed the weekend before as well. Lauren did, correct? At her semis.
Yep.
So she seemed to have recovered pretty well from that then too.
Yeah, she had quite the week. She said she had like multiple tests. She that week for nursing school, she had just gone off competition. They flew in Friday night, and then she had to leave again Saturday right after the race. I mean, she has a lot on her plate right now. I mean, I truly hand it to that girl, and yeah, I just love to see kind of that success. And like I said, I'm so happy for her, so proud of her, and really excited for her.
Yeah, that makes it even that much more impressive when you know what she juggled that week too.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of Lauren. She'll have her time. We'll talk to her sometime. Love you, Lauren. You're awesome.
If you can get in her schedule, like I said, she is very busy.
Yeah.
She seems like a great person, though. I've talked to her a little bit, really hoping that she said, you know, fingers crossed. We'll do.
Yeah.
But so now, what's the plan going forward? So, like you said, 3 big events all just happened. To have all of that in one like couple of months span, obviously, must have been a lot of stress, a lot of, you know, anxiety. Now that's all done. So what happens now? I mean, is there a downswing? Is there a bit of a recovery, or are you prepping now for the next thing?
So, I mean, definitely the CrossFit season, this has been the longest CrossFit season of my life. I mean, we went from last season straight into this season because all the changes with COVID and just the CrossFit changes in general. So probably for the past 2 years, I haven't truly taken an off season or a downtime. So I'm definitely going to take the next month or two just to kind of let my body recover, kind of do a lot of reflecting, kind of figure out what I want and what's next. I feel like this past couple months, I've been chasing so many different things and just throwing my foot into everything and not really figuring out kind of what I truly want to go for and kind of the athlete I truly want to be. So definitely going to take some time to just reflect and enjoy summer, enjoy being married, and kind of soak it all in. Yeah, for sure.
So then you haven't thought about the next, and I'm just looking at the schedule here, trying to find out the next Hyrox event, and I think it's probably Dallas or another one in Texas. So is that in the plans, or?
Probably, I think the next one if we can make it to the World Championships in September, that would be cool. If we can get into Germany, that would definitely be cool. And then I think the LA one is in August, maybe?
We're looking at September 25th, LAX.
Okay. Yeah, maybe not that one. I don't know. I need to look at all that.
Yeah, oh my God, so many. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Except for Canada, we don't do anything.
Oh.
So that's the plan. And then CrossFit will fire back up when?
There's kind of like a team super season this fall. Starting in the end of September, we're gonna do Big Impact Games, which is a big CrossFit competition in Wisconsin in the end of September. So that'll kind of be when the CrossFit season, like team season, kind of picks back up in the fall. And then our team will be going to the CrossFit Games just to support and have a booth and hang out, but we won't be actually competing. So,
Oh, I would love to
yeah.
go. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would even just I want to go to watch just to see it to see what's going on. Yes, I want to go judge. I want to go judge. But I want to judge little guys like that one guy that did really well. I can't remember his name, but he's a short guy with a mullet. I'll judge him. He's okay. Mertens, he's smaller than me. I'm fine with that.
You can be his own personal judge.
Exactly. And I can be bought. So having done the Hyrox there again, and this is something that I like to go through with some people and stuff, and Beth and I talk about this stuff all the time. What would you change to help make things a little more fluid, to run things better? I mean, I've given up to the point of trying to change. Oh, there's one other thing I'll go through about something that I don't know if you heard this either, Beth, but this will be different. I want to get your opinion on it. What would you change to make things better, to run smoother? How would you improve the situation? Because I mean, you obviously have experience with the CrossFit area where you've seen it's a much bigger event, it's a much bigger show. How can Hyrox up its level that way? What can they do to step it up anyway?
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit at the after party. Everyone was kind of throwing around ideas here and there. We all definitely agree that the elite heat or whatever should be the very start of the event. It shouldn't be 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon when all kinds of random people are on the course. They should be the first ones out, should start off the event. The course should be clear, and it should be in the morning. I mean, no one likes to wait around until 2 p.m. to start their race. So that was something. I guess the idea was that people would kind of sit around and watch the US Championships in the afternoon. But I don't think that's really the case. I think it's kind of more of a live event. I mean, and then following kind of the after process. So I definitely think starting it earlier. And then I guess they're trying to come up with a new team Hyrox event, which could be interesting, but I don't know if it'll attract a lot of kind of high level athletes. I think it'll be more kind of for the general population and kind of the intermediate and like the scaled type of athletes. So I'm not sure if that is quite the answer. But those are some of the ideas that they were throwing around.
100% agree with the morning thing. I mean, I am surprised that, and like Beth, same thing. Like,
yeah,
OCR had that figured out from day one.
Yeah.
You know, like you send out the elites on a clean course, fresh course, nobody in their way.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I saw you guys have to run around somebody, I just kind of cringed.
Yeah.
And luckily, it never seemed to cause a problem in the stations. But I was like, oh, push them.
Yeah. I've heard that they do a really cool, I guess they did it at the time trials where you have like your own lane and you come back to your own certain lane every single time and do the workout right there, which I also think would be a really good idea, just to kind of normalize it and kind of make it a little more not so crazy.
I mean, I like that setup too. That was a much better setup. That was Orlando in the time trial. The problem with that is, I mean, financially, they're not going to be able to throw as many people through that way. And that's why they very much had to limit the field there.
Okay.
So from what I heard, because E-Rock did an interview on Instagram, and I'll tell you what I heard about the team thing from him was 4 people to a team switching out whenever you want. So, but each person would have to do a minimum of 3 stations. So for example, Bethany, we talked about this before with Carolyn Prevost.
Yeah.
Quite literally say you and Lanny and Carolyn and Alexis went and did it. You and Lanny could run every lap and Carolyn and Alexis could do every station.
So the running counts as stations? You don't have to do the workout station?
That's right. So you're broken into 16 stations, right? So it's an interesting concept that way. I'm with you, Rachel. I don't think, unless they throw a ton of money for prize money, that it'll really draw in too many people.
Yeah, and it's weird because then, like you said, you're just going to make stacked teams. You're going to get tiny little runners and big, huge CrossFitters and no one that can do both.
And it kind of pulls away from the whole concept of hybrid racing, which is
Right.
the hybrid thing, the blending together. I think, and I mean, I've said it many times, they still would have been better with a half Hyrox, half the distance, and that I think brings in more CrossFitters. Who are gonna,
sure.
oh, you're not running 8K, you're running 4K now. And you're not running 1 kilometer loops, you're running 500-meter loops.
But isn't that kind of DECA's claim to fame? Is it's shorter?
Less weight though. The big thing with DECA is they're all like the heaviest thing you lift in DECA is even as a guy, is a 55-pound ram to do lunges with, and you do 30 lunges, and then that's the heaviest thing you got.
It's incredibly manageable weights. Like anybody could walk out and do those weights.
And that's their claim, and that's a great thing to do, that because they strive for 100% completion.
Yeah.
And then they figure for people like yourselves, all right, just go faster.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's great. I think it's a good concept, but different strokes for different folks. I think for what Hyrox has done, if they want to bring in a stronger, and they do, I mean, they've made no bones about it. They would like to draw in from the CrossFit community.
Yeah.
Put in a half. Keep the regular one, but put in a half as well.
Yeah. I think that is one of the biggest things that why CrossFitters, I mean, even CrossFitters who would do really well, like Christia Ramos, she's even like, I would have to adjust my training because, I mean, 8K is no joke when you're kind of in that kind of time frame. So I do think that would definitely attract a lot of CrossFitters, and I think then they would do really well if it wasn't so much running, which would be cool.
Wouldn't that too, I mean, I don't want to say it puts less training on it, but like you say, without having to divert your training so much, it just makes it so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Not only is it less scary, but just like, okay, there's one that weekend. It's not going to, the recovery, what I'm trying to get, the recovery is not going to be as bad as it is from doing what you did.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they also mentioned that they were going to try to coordinate better with the CrossFit season to get some of those athletes. So I think that is above and beyond. I mean, CrossFitters do a lot of running in their off season. Mm-hmm. And if Hyrox wasn't literally in the middle of the peak of the CrossFit season, there would be CrossFitters that would at least give it a try or kind of come and get their feet wet in it. But for it to be in the middle of semifinals, the Open and the Games, is like none of the top athletes are going to, I mean, put that on the line to sacrifice their season. So I think that's also a big downfall of them just being the exact same time frame.
I think that might have just been the COVID deal, just because everything got a little screwed up there. And I think you're that they will go to that scenario, because wasn't it the same, Beth? Wasn't it like they kind of tried to stay in the off season of OCR as well?
Yeah, their plan was to be an off season sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is the OCR season?
Oh, the OCR season's like 11 months a year.
All Hyrox will be in December. Every one of them.
Yeah. Well, except this year because Worlds is in December for Spartan.
January. We're moving into January.
Yeah. Well, the one Hyrox I did was in January because I was like, that's actually my off season. But yeah, the prime OCR season would basically be April to October.
And then you're talking championship seasons, pretty much September, October.
September, October, yeah.
That's when everybody wants to peak for the big races.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think, you should look at that team thing, Bethany. I think I just made a good team there. You guys might do all right.
I know. I think that would be super fun. But again, like, I would almost do it where, like, I would want to race real Hyrox and then do that one for fun after or something.
Yeah.
Because it's just, again, that you're just I'm just going to run, like, 1 kilometer intervals, like, which would be really fun, but...
But then they could carry you around and, The other problem I have with that too, and this is teams of 4 just from personal experience, it's like herding cats. Trying to get a team of 4 people together, it's not easy, especially when it involves travel and everything. It just, I've tried for getting together teams for Platinum Rig for an OCR event. You have to get 4 people together, and it's tough. And from my understanding with the Hyrox one, and I believe, so I mean, you couldn't do this during the team I mentioned, Bethany, because I believe it has to be 2 men and 2 women. So that makes it even more difficult. So
yeah. And then, like, what if one of your athletes gets injured? Do you sub in someone else? Or I mean, that can get
Complicated, yeah.
I would have sooner seen them just take again do the half and take the current team one and maybe switch it up a little bit instead of and make it a tag format where we talked about before where you can tag anyone in after any station, right? Same concept, but just the 2 people teams. I think that would have been a little easier to organize and a little easier to get a team together. But
Yeah.
so
I agree.
Trying things.
yeah, it's great. One question about, did it seem like there was a good turnout for this one?
Yeah, I mean, the only other Hyrox I've been at is Dallas, which was the elite invitational one. So I don't really know what a good turnout was. It seemed a little bit smaller to me just by like spectators and whatnot. I wasn't sure if that was because it was so spread out with the normal Hyrox in the morning and then the World Championship in the afternoon. But I guess, I mean, with there being so many different categories too, I don't really love that, how there's like the pro, the elite, the woman, and it's all kind of different categories. It'd be cool if there was just like maybe 2, like the elite and then the scaled, so you could compete against more people. I think there was only 8 or 6 girls in the elite race, and that was all that we were competing against, which I mean was kind of strange, I thought.
And I admit, like, and I kind of like this because I'm just an age group guy, but it is almost like Oprah runs it, and it's like you get a banner, you get a banner, you get a banner,
Yeah.
everybody gets a banner, and
Yeah.
So I mean, they can switch that after I get my banner, and then
I mean, I get that, like
Right
they
now.
want to acknowledge people in different categories, but I think it takes away from, like, I talked to some girls and they're like, oh, we just wanted to do the regular open so we could do well. I mean, I don't know. I think it was just too many different divisions and categories, and no one really knew who actually was the best and who wasn't.
yeah, that's could go on for a while on some of that stuff. Oh, okay. So yeah, this was something that came up too, and as we were watching the video, when you guys were doing the sled pull, and we'll go back to judges, you horrible fucking people. Sometimes some of the judges were pulling the ropes out of the way, almost doing rope maintenance, and then other judges were not.
I noticed that.
And that, like, I know it seems okay. So anybody who hasn't watched this or doesn't know a lot about Hyrox is going to say, "Who the fuck cares?" Right? But that's a big thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, that's a big difference when they manage your rope. Did that affect you at all? Did you? I mean, you obviously you said you noticed it.
Yeah, no, I was mad. At one point, Becca's entire rope was in my lane, and I was just like, "What the hell?" Because you're already like stepping and kicking on your own rope, and then I saw someone pulling like the rope next to her out of the way, and I was like, "What is going on?" Because I was like frustrated with that. But yeah, that was strange. How some of them were moving it and pulling it back, and some of them were just staring at you, and then, like I said, other athletes' ropes were coming into your lane. That was definitely frustrating.
I mean, and I said it on the broadcast. I told Bracken, I said, as a strategy, I think if I was Lauren, because she was there first, I said I would start throwing my rope into Rachel's lane as I go, so that she's got a trip on it, because I've only got her on the one side, nobody on the other side of me, so I got space. So that would be, and then I noticed, I said, she's on the wrong side now. She can't throw it over there. And he's like, well, I think that they are classy people and good people, and they need proper coaching then, because like this is win. This is game time. Have you found though? How has the judging at the Hyrox been for you? Like, I mean, with the lunges, like, have you even been no repped on anything yet?
The wall balls, they sometimes been like lower. I've definitely gotten that. But like I said, before I did my first Hyrox, I was thinking it was going to be like very intense, just because all the virtual qualifiers I did, the movement standards and the video reviews were very, like, to a very high standard and very intense. So I mean, before my first Hyrox, I was like reading that rule book, like making sure like I was going to hit every standard, like very worried about that. And then when I got to the race,
docked 190 reps.
Yeah.
What's that?
You could easily get docked 190 reps, right?
Yeah.
Did that happen to you?
In one virtual comp, at the very beginning of COVID, it was so bad. It was a high rep burpee thing, and It was the difference of my hands being here and here for like almost 200 reps.
She was mad
That
at me.
is
I
quite
got
the
Yeah, the
penalty.
top. I went from like third to 50th. Forget it.
That's what I mean, though. I mean, they watched every single one of your reps in
Yeah.
those videos.
Oh yeah. They did.
So you haven't had an issue on the floor with it then?
No, I mean little things here and there, but nothing significant. No.
Because I mean, we did see Hunter get in a lunge no rep, and they moved him back 5 meters.
Oh wow. Okay.
And obviously they brought the bucket out for Callie.
Yep.
He was beside you, and much love, Callie. She had a fantastic day. She did awesome, but yeah, needs to work on those. That's definitely she admits that that's a rough one. And again, Brackett and I talked on that thing. That bucket is not a solution. That I think honestly, and Beth, you should do this too because we're short people. If we're there, I'm going to deliberately screw up the first 20 reps or so.
The bucket would take a lot of my squat out.
Yeah, exactly. And then like I can do like pulses in the ball.
But you're not allowed to rest on the bucket.
No, but I mean, like seriously, you will have to drop like 2 inches. That's your squat,
Me?
and then you can throw. Yeah,
I'm not that short.
it's a big bucket. Just get a good wide sumo stance, and then bang, 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 you ram it. Fantastic.
I totally agree. I also feel like if they bring the bucket out, your score should be all of a sudden like scaled or not necessarily RX.
Well, and honestly, you're running a very. This is the thing. One thing I think Hyrox does really well. Like, it's a good production. You know, the good lighting, the sound, the music, the stage across the line, everything. And then we're having issues here. Let's bring the Home Depot bucket out. Serious. At least they painted it black, but you know, it's still.
Yeah. Oh, that is funny. It's some of the things that you don't really think about until you've seen it from like an outside perspective or like step back and you're like, wow, yeah, literally that just makes it so not cool.
It's a bad look. And I mean, I think Faye Stenning won once using the bucket. No, Faye is fast. It says she is literally like fast like Faye. But the fact she's such a tight runner, she couldn't.
Her hips are so tight she can't squat down. Yeah, so she gets the bucket every time.
Oh wow.
I agree that you shouldn't. And Bracken said this because I asked him, I said, what do you suggest as a solution? He's like, get rid of the damn bucket and no rep you till you get it.
Yeah.
And he is bang on the money. That's exactly what you do. You can't do it. You can't do it. Sorry, Faye. So for me, Rachel, that's all I got for today. Beth, you?
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right. Why don't you wind us out?
Yeah, thanks so much, Rachel, for joining us again. Congrats on all your success lately. All the best with healing with your injury now, and we look forward to seeing you crushing it again in the future.
Thank you guys so much. Always a pleasure to talk with you both.